Welcome back to another episode of Learn to Cook on a Budget with Erin Chase here on the $5 Dinners YouTube channel, and you might be watching this elsewhere as well. I am on a mission to help you spend less money on groceries, and one of the best ways to do that is to cook more at home. And hopefully these ideas and tips and tricks and lessons that I have been sharing with you over the past couple of months have been helping you do just that. I'm going to share one of my most important strategies here in my kitchen, and I hope it is helpful to you. And we're going to turn into a new theme this month. We're going to be talking all about letting the countertop appliances, that is the crock pot or slow cooker, and the Instant Pot or electric pressure cooker. I will use all of those names sort of interchangeably throughout the next couple of weeks. We're going to talk about how we can let those countertop appliances do a lot of the heavy lifting for us with just a little bit of prep work. They can really be useful in helping us be more efficient, create more flexibility, also confidence in getting dinner on the table on all of those crazy busy weeknights that we experience so much. First up in this new theme, in this new month, is cooking chicken in the slow cooker so that we get a good shredded chicken. There's nothing worse than like coming home and you're like, oh my gosh, my kids want this, or we have this on the menu and the chicken's not cooked. Maybe you want to make enchiladas. Well, having to cook the chicken and then assemble the enchiladas and then get them into the oven, it's just one more step. And so one of my favorite ways to make life a little easier in the kitchen, a little less chaotic in getting meals together, is having protein cooked and ready to go. Whether it's browning ground beef in bulk and then dividing it up into meal-sized portions, maybe with a sauce or two, and getting that into the freezer so I can quickly just reheat that in the skillet. That's one way I like to do that. My other favorite way is cooking and shredding chicken in the slow cooker. That way I already have a cooked and shredded chicken that I can even just throw on top of rice, or it's gonna go in an enchilada or even like a pasta bake, if you will. So just having that one step done can make a huge difference in just the way that your afternoon goes and the way that you get dinner cooked and ready to go. So I'm gonna show you how I like to do the chicken. We're gonna talk about a few ways to flavor-ize, if you will, and then we'll talk about how to store it in the freezer and then reheat it for your meal. The easiest type of chicken to use for this type of, bulk and shredding of chicken is going to be a boneless, skinless chicken breast and or boneless, skinless chicken thighs, or if you're like me, a combination of both. I really like when I have kind of equal parts of boneless, skinless chicken breasts and boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I like the added depth of flavor from the thighs, and then just the chicken breasts do such a good job after they have cooked and they're shredding. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just fill up my slow cooker with chicken breasts and chicken thighs. So I'm just gonna actually do about 2 meals worth for now. This maybe could be 3 meals worth depending on what we're going to be having. But this is equal parts of chicken breast and chicken thighs going into the slow cooker. If you wanted to do a larger batch, do 6, 7, 8 chicken breasts, 18, 24 chicken thighs, however much will fit in here. And you don't need any extra liquid except for vinegar. There is already quite a bit of liquid in the chicken that will release as it slow cooks, but I am gonna add a splash of vinegar just right into the bottom of the slow cooker, and that's gonna help cut down the kind of plain chicken flavor or taste, if you will. And that's really just a thing that I do when I'm just cooking kind of plain chicken. However, I'm gonna use it later, we don't know, but that will help. I also do this if I'm boiling chicken. A lot of times if you don't need the vinegar, if I was pouring in a vinegar-based like vinaigrette marinade, I wouldn't add the additional vinegar, but since I'm just cooking the chicken here by itself with just a little salt and pepper, I'm just gonna do the vinegar to help cut down that little flavor. If you don't know what I'm talking about, try it and then you'll know what I'm talking about. Now that we have this ready to cook, I want to go over some of the cooking times for you, both in the slow cooker as well as in the Instant Pot, because I kind of use them interchangeably. The slow cooker, if I'm on the ball and ahead of the game and can start it in the morning, I'll use the slow cooker, but sometimes I forget. you know, life happens. And then I will kind of cook this chicken in the same way in the Instant Pot later on in the day versus the slow cooker that I would start in the morning. So for cooking a slow cooker chicken like this, I like to do low. I think it creates a softer chicken. That low and slow really does a really good job of cooking the chicken, making it nice and shreddable. So I would recommend a low for 8 to 10 hours, whether you're cooking from fresh or frozen. If you're in a time crunch, you could do fresh chicken, meaning it hasn't been frozen, for 4 or 6 hours on high. So fresh can be 4 or 6 hours on high, or low for 8 or 10 hours. So that's if the chicken is, you know, fresh, hasn't been frozen. If you are doing a freezer meal style, like you've seen us do my flavor-ize meals, you know how those work. When you're cooking chicken from frozen, which you can do in the slow cooker safely, you definitely need to cook on low for 8 hours. That is the absolute minimum, so that it has enough time. The slow cooker will defrost the chicken and cook it all the way through and keep it at a safe temperature. So the only rule that I have for you is a food safety rule, and that is to slow cook on low for 8 hours if you're cooking the chicken from frozen. Like I mentioned, the Instant Pot, you can cook the chicken from fresh or frozen in kind of the same way, just later on in the day. So if I was needing this chicken for dinner, I would probably start at about 5 o'clock, be ready, you know, in plenty of time before 6 o'clock. If you're cooking chicken like this from fresh in your Instant Pot or your electric pressure cooker, you're gonna wanna use the manual mode on high pressure for 15 or 16 minutes. It kind of depends on the thickness of the chicken breast, but that should be enough time. And if you let it naturally release for 10 minutes or so, that heat will continue to cook all of that through. So that's fresh chicken, 15 to 16 minutes. If you're cooking chicken from frozen in the Instant Pot, you will need to add a cup of liquid so that the Instant Pot will read. Even though there might be liquid frozen in the chicken, it will not read that. You need to add that cup of liquid in there, and then you will cook it for 24 to 26 minutes, high pressure, manual mode. That's also dependent on kind of how, if the chicken is frozen kind of in a rounder shape, you might need even up to 30 minutes to get the chicken all the way on the inside cooked. If it's frozen in sort of a flatter, less thick shape, then it will probably be closer to the 24, 25 minute mark. Of course, if your chicken is not cooked all the way through at the end of the cooking cycle, put the lid back on, give it a couple more minutes, and it will finish cooking through in the Instant Pot. So this is how we just make kind of a plain chicken that we can figure out how to add flavor to later. But of course you can add flavor now before you cook it, or you can cook it like this and then add flavor or a sauce later. So you can add sauces, you can add vinaigrettes, you can add rubs, spices, spice blends, whatever flavor you want to add to this chicken, you can do that either after it's cooked or before it's cooked. When I'm doing chicken like this, especially when I'm, get a big batch of chicken on sale, I'll put different types of sauces and marinades and vinaigrettes and spices in with into the different bags and put it all in the freezer that way. That's my preferred way to flavorize chicken. I like to call that kind of a meal starter, where I've got the meat, I've got the sauce together, and then I can figure out, after I've slow cooked it or put it in the Instant Pot or even baked it or grilled it or whatever, then I can figure out, what we're gonna serve the rest of the meal. So I want you to be thinking about when you're flavorizing your chicken, before you cook it or after you cook it, how it's going to fit with the meal. You're watching this later into the fall. If you go back on our Instagram, you'll see Saucy September. It also should be here on YouTube Shorts as well. Saucy September is where we found the best new sauces, and you go back to get inspired and find some new sauces. But just a simple sauce like this is going to be really fantastic cooking with the chicken. You can also add this after it's totally cooked, after you've cooked and shredded it, add the sauce in there. That might help you because you don't know what you're going to make. But if your family loves certain sauces, if you're a big salsa verde fan, if you love barbecue sauce, if you love gold barbecue, like whatever you love, go ahead and add it in there now, because you'll know you'll enjoy it later. Of course, you can add it after it is cooked and shredded as well. Shredding the chicken. It is slow cooked the day away. What we're gonna do is we're gonna what I usually do is pull the chicken out. You could even use these claws and scoop it out, strain it off a little bit if you need to, and transfer it into a bowl of, depending on how much chicken you're making, transfer to a bowl. There's a couple things you could use. You could use claws, right? Claws to shred, you can just use forks to shred, big fork, little fork, 2 little forks, a knife and a fork even, depending how shredded you want it. You could also use your stand mixer, which mine is over there. I'm not gonna bring it over here, but the stand mixer really does a fantastic job of shredding to a finer shred. It literally will take 10 to 20 seconds. It is quick. Just the regular paddle that you would use to make, cookie dough, you can use to shred your chicken. And the longer you leave it there, the finer it will get. I mean, it will get to like an almost powder if you leave it in there for too long. But it does a really good job. I like to use the stand mixer when I'm making something like a chicken salad, because you want that sort of softer, finer chicken to then incorporate with the mayonnaise and yogurt, however you're making your chicken salad. So that's what I like to do. If I'm just shredding chicken to put over rice, to put into enchiladas, even for like a soup, if you will, I will just use the claws or the forks. The bigger pieces are just fine for a meal like that. So depending on what you're using the shredded chicken for, you can use one of those 3 options for shredding your chicken. Okay, friend, this right here is why I love having shredded chicken in the freezer already cooked. And it's because I can have tacos like this on the table in like 10-15 minutes. We just have to thaw and warm up the chicken, which you can do in even the microwave. You could do it in a skillet. This is just tacos, a little pico de gallo, sour cream, guacamole, super easy, super basic, super delicious. Because hungry boy, because options, because chaotic dinner time, prep time, all of that, it's madness. And so having something that I can quickly pull together that everybody is going to love. I could even use these with my famous stuffed tacos, where we put these, you could put the chicken into the taco shells, cover with cheese, bake in the oven. Then we have our metaverse tacos. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look around somewhere around here. You'll see it's something that happened on the Food Network's Big Bad Budget Battle show. Another story for another day. But anyways, super great. Also, these sombrero hats, if you do not have them, these taco holders, Daisy's a big fan. If you don't have these taco holders, you need them. They're super fun. They'll make your Taco Tuesday even a little bit more festive. We do have these sombrero taco holders available in the store, so check that out. You should see a link somewhere below the video where you can get those ordered for your next Taco Tuesday. So we have our chicken cooked, we have it shredded. We're gonna put it into a container of some kind, into the freezer, plastic bag, silicone bag, glass container, whatever you use. You're going to then have it in the freezer. It'll be there until you need it, nice and cooked and shredded and ready for your meal. When it comes time to thaw it, you can either thaw it in the fridge overnight, you can thaw it in another bowl or container of water to help speed up the thawing process, just like you thaw a turkey on Thanksgiving morning that needs to get into the oven, isn't thaw yet, same kind of idea there. You could also thaw it in the microwave if you wish. Once it's thawed, you can then of course reheat it, add it to the dish to cook, whatever it is you're making, depending on what you're making, you can then reheat it that way. But it's already cooked, so you don't have to worry about that. It's really just a reheat situation. There you have it, getting chicken into the freezer that's already cooked and shredded. It is a crucial part of my cooking routine and cooking cadence. I hope it will become the same for you as well. Of course, you can experiment with different flavors, sauces, vinaigrettes, marinades, whatever you like, depending on what your family likes to eat. Around here, it's a lot of tacos, not gonna lie. I just love having this already done and in the freezer. It just one step finished really does make a big difference when it comes time for your dinner prep. We have lots of different ways to, quote, flavorize the chicken over on the $5 Dinners blog. I mentioned Saucy September over on Instagram. It's also on TikTok and YouTube Shorts here, so you can check out some ideas there. You'll kind of see a quicker kind of start to finish look of how to put these meals together. It's a little less explanatory than we have here, a little more like quick how to put these different meals together. Finally, like this video if you learned something new or you found it helpful. We appreciate it when you do that. It helps me know that you're learning something and that you're getting value from these cooking lessons and cooking videos. Also, please subscribe to the channel. We're releasing new episodes of Learn to Cook on a Budget at noon Central Time on Wednesday. Subscribe so you don't miss another episode.